Hey everyone, Gary McGowan here at Keller Williams and the Realtors Growth Network. Today I sit down with Jenn O'Kane, our production coach at Keller Williams. She is able to help agents take their business to the next level. See, if you're an agent not achieving your goals, you need to listen to this. If you're an agent that wants to do more business, you need to listen to this. If you're an agent that's perhaps starting out and doesn't know what to do next, you need to listen to this. If you're an agent that is already killing it and want to kill it even some more, you need to listen to this. So sit down with me, enjoy our conversation with Jenn O'Kane. See you on the other side. As I said, I'm sitting here with Jenn O'Kane, and she is our production coach at Keller Williams Realty Centres. We're going to dive in to really understand what that is, how it affects you as the realtor, and really how do we build a better business together. So Jenn, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Good.
I'm great.
Thanks
for
having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I'm sure a lot of people want to know a little bit about who Jenn is. So who is Jenn?
Jen is shy.
Good, so video is awesome.
Yes, exactly. I'm super comfortable right now.
Of course.
I am an agent. I've been an agent for, this is my 13th year.
Wow.
This year. So I started as an agent, actually. From the time I came out of university, I got my license right away. I grew up around that. I own multiple properties. My parents bought and flipped homes. So it's kind of been in my blood since I was a little kid. So I always knew real estate was something I wanted to do. So I got my license when I was 21.
Wow.
I think I might have been 22, but it was somewhere in that range. And I worked on my own. I have a team now. I've been coaching for about 5 years. I've been teaching for about 7 years. So coaching and teaching is the direction that I want to go. And that's what's kind of led me to productivity. So.
Perfect. You said so much there that I can jump in on a lot of different things, but I know we're here about production coaching, but I want to ask you just a couple of things about being the age that you were, being a young agent.
Yeah.
There's some obstacles you had at the beginning?
Tons of obstacles. Age being the most obvious.
Yeah.
And I also looked young, so
yeah.
that didn't
you do.
That really didn't help me, right? So I was very young, and then I was also actually young, so I didn't have the information that I needed sometimes. But I actually started by shadowing another agent. So when I was in school getting my license, I was his admin. And then as I got licensed, he would take me out, teach me how to do open houses. Basically, I had a productivity coach, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I worked with him for about 4 or 5 months, and then he left the area, he retired. And then I continued working on after that on my own. So the obstacles I faced, the biggest ones were obviously people wondering if I was experienced enough to do what I did. And I found that my knowledge and my ability to speak very eloquently, not that I'm doing that right now, about things that they needed to know to make them feel secure and to show that I had the knowledge that they needed, generally removed that concern for me. So that was always really good.
That's amazing.
One of the bigger obstacles I had obviously was listings, because working with buyers is a little bit easier, right? But when you're young, knocking on a door, trying to get someone to hire you, it's very, very challenging. And I found that, again, just going back to what I know, knowing what to say, practicing what to say, knowing how to say it. I spent a lot of time on the phones. I found I had better results with that, so I stuck with that. We used to have, so my first year I was in Fort Erie, so small town. So they did things a little more old school than they did in Toronto when I moved up here. And we have what you call the agent duty, where you would be on the phone for 2 or 3 hours each day. You get assigned certain days of the week, and you have your time block, and people would call in for information on listings, and those were your leads. So what I did was I just took all the agents in my office's times, because they'd all been doing this for like 20 years, and they didn't want to do it anymore. So I just went and said to them, can I take your time on the phones? And majority of them let me do it. And so then that was how I just got really good at my scripts. I just, fumbled through it. I didn't know I was doing all this at that time because I hadn't been trained in any of it. It was just my natural instinct that that's what you do. So those are probably my bigger obstacles. Other than that, I knew a lot about properties because I'd grown up around that world, so I didn't have that learning curve in regard to, what wiring should look like, what a bad roof is, how to do curb appeal, aesthetics versus mechanical issues. I kind of knew all of that from my family in the background, so I was lucky that way.
I found when I became an agent, I came from that investor world background, similar to yours perhaps, and the inexperience from the agent side, that obstacle got wiped out really quickly when people realized how knowledgeable I was, or you were, from owning properties and working with them. That'll always trump however long an agent's been around. If they have experience as an owner, as an investor, that will trump any agent, for sure, I find.
Absolutely, and you apply it, right?
Yeah.
And so once I was able to speak on items and knew things that they didn't know, even if they were quite a bit older than me at that point in time, I found that they just learned to trust me. And I was very honest. If I didn't know something, I didn't pretend I did. I just said, you know what, I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but when I get back to my office, I'll do some research and I'll get back to you later today.
Yeah,
and then people were comfortable with that, right?
Yeah.
So I was just always very upfront. I got asked a lot how old I was. That was pretty much the most common question I think that came out. And I always, I would always be like, do I tell the truth? Do I buffer it a little bit? No, obviously, you tell the truth.
Of course, yeah.
And most people didn't care at the end of the day, as long as I was good and they liked me. I guess I was pleasant and sweet, and people liked that they felt comfortable with me. So I never had too much trouble with it. I think my own insecurities got more in the way than other people's reactions to it.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we're usually our own worst enemy, right?
It tends to be the way.
We tend to say no for ourselves quite often.
Yeah, we give people excuses that they didn't give us, right? It was very, very common. So,
of course.
I had to learn to get out of my own way. That was my biggest obstacle, I would say. Yeah, still working on that one.
Well, I think it's an ongoing process, for sure. Yeah. So you've had that experience, and you were quite successful as an agent, and you created a team, and what does that look like quickly for us?
Yeah, so the team is my business partner, Colin Bradford,
Yeah.
And we have a team. We've got about 4 agents, active agents on the team, and then ourselves. And we work Durham region. We do some stuff up north. Magali Tessler's our commercial agent. She's amazing. Charles does Mississauga. He does Richmond Hill. Alex does Durham region. Colin and I kind of jump in whenever we need to, and then I run the system side of things, so the accountability and reaching out to the clients and our touch 33s and our 12x12s and all that sort of fun stuff that most agents don't like doing. So that's kind of how I fit into that role, and we've just built a team around the vision of something that we would want to be a part of if we were agents.
Good.
And that's kind of our idea, right? Our goal is to help the agent, and I coach within the team as well. So that's helped me practice more of my coaching skills.
So production coaching, and that to me, I only learned about this maybe 12 months ago, maybe, that it was actually even a thing. And at the time, we really didn't have it in our brokerage here, Keller Williams Realty Centres in Aurora, Newmarket. And talk to me a little bit about what it is and perhaps how you originally got involved with it.
Yeah, for sure. So what it is basically a program. It's a Keller Williams idea, because Gary Keller, he's just the smartest guy. So it's basically an idea that agents within the office can become productivity coaches and work with other agents to help them build their business or grow their business or expand their business. A lot of people can get the concept that it's for brand new agents, which isn't necessarily the fact. It's for any agent that just needs to go, I need some accountability. I need to get from where I am to where I want to go, and I don't know how to do it. Or I just need someone to kind of give me a kick in the butt sometimes, right? Because I'm not doing what I know I need to be doing. Because in a lot of the cases, that's usually what it is, right? And so how I got into it was I actually started working when I was at Refer, because I was at the referred office at Duncan Mill for 12 years. And so after I'd kind of been working there and doing the agent thing, and I was a buyer agent, a listing agent, an administrator, kind of done all the roles on a team, I got into teaching, and that led me to coaching. And Jason Gavadsta is the productivity coach at that office. And he brought me on as he was a bit of a mentor to me. He taught me what the program is, how it looks, what it should be, what we do for the agent. And then from there, I kind of took what I'd learned and created my own version of what I thought it should be and how I thought it should be implemented. And when I transferred here, Maureen gave me a call and said, hey, I heard you were doing this before, and can we talk about it? And then it kind of just led to where we are now, which is the program. So
that's fantastic. And for those that are curious about what the nuts and bolts of it is, what is your 30-second pitch of it?
Pitch? So basically what it is an accountability program that involves tracking your numbers, committing to what you're going to be working on for each week, coming up with your game plan based on your business plan, and working backwards over the year for what your goals are, so we make sure that you're going to be able to hit those goals, combined with coaching and education and some of the other stuff that you might need that you don't already have in your business. So it's a combination, I guess, of taking the accountability that we all love, and combining it with the coaching and education that will allow us, if we have the full package, to go from where we are to where we need to be.
Right, right. So this isn't necessarily one-on-one mapped coaching.
No.
It's different than that, right?
Yes, it is group coaching.
Yeah.
It maps coaching being the one-on-one a little bit different. We actually meet twice a week. On Tuesdays, every single Tuesday, we meet here in the boardroom, and that's your day to be accountable. We also do role play and script work on Tuesdays. So we go through what you committed to for the previous week, whether it was door knocking, open houses, one buyer, whatever that looks like, right? And then we talk about how to go. What went well, what didn't go well, what do we need to do this week to have a better week? Or if you had an amazing week, we celebrate it, right?
Yeah.
And then on Wednesdays we meet, and that's a class. So we actually teach, and I do most of the teaching, but I am working on reaching out to some of the agents in the office to get them to come in and talk about their expertise and things that I don't necessarily do. So for example, I don't door knock, right? I know there's an amazing class coming up on Thursday, so I've told everyone, hey, you guys should be going to this class. So leverage some of the stuff that isn't necessarily my area. But yeah, it's basically, a couple of days a week, and then I'm available. If you have questions, you can text or call me or email me pretty much anytime. I have set hours, I'm not going to get into that now, but there are fluctuations, right? Obviously, if you're working on an offer and you don't know what to say, or if you're having a bad situation, you need to know how to navigate with the client, what that should look like. I'm there to help with all of that stuff too.
Right.
So it's kind of, it's not 24/7, but it's kind of like, availability throughout the day, and then some accountability and coaching blended together.
Yeah. So on one hand, like accountability and creating, I'm sure your program is there to create the daily habit, that daily rhythm.
Yes.
But what I like about what you're saying here is, many times, especially when we were inexperienced, if you remember back then, like you wouldn't know what to say.
Right.
And you said it anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Or you wouldn't know how to properly write that offer. Well, here
Right.
you are, you're at the other end of the phone, and you can help people do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the main purpose of it, is to help, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if we're going to make it simple, it's like, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
In any facet of your business, whether it be your systems or how to follow up or what to do with your leads or what to say or how to write an offer, that's kind of the stuff that I'm here to help with. And that's more the day-to-day. And then the structure part is more about exactly what you said, how to build the rhythm of your business, what it should look like, what you should be doing, right? And then being accountable to that.
Yeah.
I know everyone hates the word accountability. I'm on a mission to change that. I think it's a very positive thing. I think it helps us. And I think, I promote for my guys, I'm like, don't run from it, because you're not going to get in trouble.
Right.
It's not like I'm going to yell at you and say, you didn't do your 100 calls last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to say what happened.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. And from what I'm hearing, it's not to say that this program is for a specific type of agent.
Right.
It's really if you've done 0 deals to 100 deals, everyone can use some sort of push.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. Yeah, and that's the idea behind it, is that I didn't want to make it so that it was very basic, and I didn't want to make it so that it was too advanced. I wanted it to be, if you want to come in because you want the support, you want to do things on your own, or even if you're on a team, but you just need to know how to navigate or what needs to happen or what you need to say, or you just want to walk in a room and feel like, hey, we're all in the same boat here, and that gives you the confidence to keep moving forward. That's what I want the program to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So for some of the students I've gone through, I guess they're students or agents,
Yeah.
clients that have gone through the program,
Yeah.
what would they say would be their biggest success through the program? What would they say about Jenn?
What they say, well, it's the part I love the most.
Yeah.
So what most of them have said, I have gotten some of them to write me testimonials and things like that. What most of them have said is that they appreciated my patience, which is a very important thing sometimes, and that they liked my approach because they felt it was a bit more unique. I wasn't a hard-driven coach, but I wasn't a gentle coach either. And they found that when I needed to push them, I did.
Right.
And when I knew not to, I held off. That I didn't treat everyone the exact same way. It was very personal. And that was probably the biggest thing that people felt connected them to wanting to do well as well. Because then there was that tie of, wanting to do well for me, which I've never put out there, but people started to feel that. And that, I think, is just the strength of the trust and the bond in between myself and the agents. Right?
Yeah. And how do the agents and how do you and the agents measure that success?
By production.
Yeah,
we take a look at where they are in their business, and the first time we meet, we're going to sit down and talk some stuff, and it's hard, and sometimes it's extremely difficult and painful. But what we do that so that we can hit a reset button and go, okay, this is where we are and where do we want to be? And then we build a business plan for the year based on that. And then we work backwards, and then we set our goals, and then our production is based on our goals. So, based on, it's numbers, right? It's all a numbers
Of
game.
course.
So, if your goal is to do 10 deals, then what do you need to do to get those deals, and how many people do you need to speak to? And we work that backwards, and then each week you base your numbers and your accountability on that. So everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
And there's no set standard. There's no expectation that you have to do 20 contacts every single day. If that's not your business, that's okay. But we have to have a conversation about what you want your business to be, and then
Right.
we figure out how to get you there.
Right.
Yeah.
And from your point of view, are you seeing a lot of agents create their own success through a program like this?
Yeah, I mean, because it's so new here, we're just kind of getting the ball rolling,
Yeah.
and so I haven't seen it obviously as much here, but I referred when we were doing it previously. It was so cool to see the agents succeed. We had about 30% that capped out within 6 months of the program starting.
Really?
I had agents who sat down in their first meeting and said, I want to do this many deals, and I said, no way. You're a brand new agent. There's no way that's going to happen. But here's what we need to do if you do want to make that happen. And they went and did it. And
Yeah.
honestly, I was so proud. I was also surprised. But certain people surprise you.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is you just don't count anybody out.
Of course.
If they're going to show up and do the work, it's pretty cool to watch what people can do. And having the support and the people in the background cheering you on and helping you it makes a big difference. Real estate can be lonely. Right?
Absolutely. It's probably one of the most loneliest professions that I've been involved
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And not having that support group is,
Right.
you are on your own island. And,
Yeah.
and when you can tap into your experience that you have, Jen, and just, the number of transactions and how to really, I think for me, it's not about the transactions.
Right.
It's, how do we manage that other person that we're talking with?
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, to me, real estate is a relationship game, right? It's not a transaction game. The numbers are the numbers.
Sure.
And they're going to dictate what you'll make and what you're going to spend and how your business is going to look. But at the end of the day, it's about the experience the client has. And
Yeah.
It's about your relationship with the client, right?
Yeah.
One of the first things I say to everybody is everyone's going to run their business differently. And this isn't a one-stop shop. I'm not going to say to you, you have to do everything this way. We're going to give you options and you figure out what's the best for your business, right? But once you commit to it, then you got to do it.
You're on.
You're on. So that's the hard part. It's like
Right.
you can talk all you want, but once you commit, that expectation is there.
Yeah.
So,
And is there a qualifying process for an agent that wants to connect with you and things like that, or is it?
No, not really. I mean, what happens is, if an agent wants to come into the program or learn more about it or figure out, the nuts and bolts of it, I'll meet with them so they can set up a time and we'll sit down. I'll go through what it is, answer any questions. And if they choose to be in the program, it's not a mandatory thing. So if they choose to be in it, it's a minimum of a 6-month commitment.
Right.
That's probably the only qualifying thing. You can be at zero production. You could just walk right out of OREA. You might be in the business 10 years and just kind of go, I just need someone to make sure I'm doing what I need to do every day.
Yeah.
So there's no qualification. There's no cap. You don't have to leave the program if you love the coaching and you want to stay. You can stay as long as you want.
Right,
It's just
right.
that the splits will be the splits.
Yeah. And the minimum of 6 months, I think that's so key because, everything that we do today really doesn't pan out for another 3 or 4 months anyways,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And-
And that's why we built it that way. Maureen and I talked a lot about that. And some of the other programs, they have it mandatory or they have it for a year. And what I found in my experience was that the mandatory doesn't work because you end up with a lot of people who don't want to be there.
Right.
So you get that hit challenge, and then you're managing people who don't want to commit. I only want people who want to be in the program, right?
Yeah.
And then the year, I found some people, after 6, 7, 8 months, some of those people that really did get going or that capped, they just want to go do their own thing, and maybe they feel I don't need to be in this coaching anymore. And I want people to be able to say that confidently and say, you know what, thank you. It's been a great run. And the door's always open. Then if they find their business is changing or they need that accountability, they can always come back.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. So to wrap up, any couple of things that you want to add to it that perhaps we didn't dive into, or?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would really say is that I know, and I'm very aware, a lot of people aren't 100% sure what it is all about,
Yeah.
and it is new to the office. And so I'd say, you know what, give me a call or send me an email or reach out to me. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk to anybody who wants more information on it. beyond that, I think we covered the gist of what it is all about without getting into the nitty gritty of how
Sure.
it runs, and nobody wants to hear all of that. So I think that's it.
That's amazing. Well, here's what my experience, and I'm sure yours too. Like all the top producers that we know, they're all in some form of coaching.
Yeah.
We never get there alone. And,
Right.
and for me, it's, who do we surround ourselves with? So if you're an agent out there that's struggling is not the right word. If you're an agent that's not at the production that you want to be at, then you need to talk to a girl like Jen, for sure, right?
Exactly. And I mean, I might not be the right fit, but I might know where to direct you if I'm not.
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing too. Like, I just want to help.
Amazing.
That's my goal. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No
That's
problem.
good. Awesome. So talk to Jen. Contact information will be below, and reach out to her. Take this to the next level. All the best. Bye for now.